Scott Becker. I'm currently figuring out my next startup, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. As a lot of college students do, you try to solve your own problems. So first, I needed a date, made a dating site. Then wanted to order lunch from food carts. I made a food cart ordering service, and then I wanted to get books for cheaper, so I made a half.com style site with local exchange points or whatever. So it was a book exchange site. And from there, I met up with other entrepreneurs who were also doing college-style businesses, met up with guys who were doing food ordering, eatnow.com, and they had actually done internships in the real world, in the advertising space. And they're like, hey, Scott, there's a lot of dollars playing around in this space, and you could work just as hard, but on bigger problems and much larger problems. So that's when we finally moved into what the company that actually ended up pivoting 3 times, which was Invite Media. We worked on that for 3.5 years. It was an advertising company, and Google acquired that company in 2010. And the advertising space has actually evolved in a similar fashion to the stock trading marketplace. So there first was the New York Stock Exchange, which early on was a lot of phone calls, trading by hand, and eventually the NASDAQ came, which was digitized trading. So the same thing has actually been occurring in the advertising space, where in the early days back in 2000, it was phone calls between people, and just when we were starting our company, this company called Invite Media was picked up by Yahoo for $850 million. It was a digital exchange for advertising. So we said, okay, well, if the digital exchange now exists for advertising, what's the next thing? Well, the next phase, just like the stock market, once the NASDAQ came, E-Trade came up, or quant fund software that let companies buy stocks across multiple exchanges digitally. So with our software, we were the E-Trade-like system for this advertising marketplace that let agencies and advertisers, like big companies, and I don't know if I'm really allowed to mention them, buy across multiple advertising sources like Yahoo, Google, Microsoft, big companies. We really brought a lot of knowledge to the table in that acquisition in terms of how the industry worked, and they brought an overwhelmingly incredible engineering force, far beyond anything we had, but there's certainly a lot of ideas around how we think the system should work that together they're improving it. Probably from Brian O'Kelly for our business specifically, he helped out tremendously. It's the notion as an engineer, we hear a lot like build early, build often. So build your product before you go sell it. But what he taught us is like, no, go pitch that product you think you're going to build to your customers and ask them, would you use this? Would you build it? What would you change? Instead of building it first. That saved us a lot of time and probably saved our company. There's this notion of customer trust, and if you deliver someone a shoddy product, you don't get a second shot. And as a young entrepreneur, there's certainly a lot of engineers that we brought on, and I myself, that's something you don't get. You're like really using your product again and again and again. I know how boring it is, but you can't hand someone something that doesn't work, or no good. Next is probably building another company. I'd like to build something even bigger, if that's possible. And long term, I want to get, just like Elon Musk has done, getting into his passions. I want to get involved in biology and helping people live longer, healthier lives.